Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Saira Mujtaba and with me is Aditi Lumba, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India votes in favour of UNSC resolution on mental health of UN peacekeepers. Ministry of External Affairs closely watches over the COVID situation in China. Sixth round of India-UK FTA negotiations concluded with treaties on 11 policy areas. Indian Foreign Service official Dr. Suhail Ejaz Khan to be next ambassador of India to Saudi Arabia. Indian scientist Professor Talapil Pradeep wins WinFuture Special Prize for low-cost groundwater filtration. India supports the cause of women's education in Afghanistan. India hands over 125 Mahindra SUVs to Sri Lanka. Nepal earns over 11 billion rupees on electricity export in the last 6 months. And Israel's longest-serving PM, Benjamin Netanyahu, manages to form a government after a year-long of political turmoil. And now the news in detail. An Indian Foreign Service official of 1997 batch, Dr. Suhail Ejaz Khan, who is presently the Ambassador of India to the Republic of Lebanon, has been appointed as the next Ambassador of India to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He will replace Dr. Osaf Saeed, a 1989 batch IFS officer. Dr. Khan is expected to take up the assignment shortly. Indian scientist Professor Talapil Pradeep from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, received the WinFuture Special Prize on 20th December 2022 in Hanoi for innovation of a low-cost filtration system to remove arsenic and other heavy metals from groundwater.
India's External Affairs Ministry has said that the objective is to hold the scheduled meetings under its G20 presidency in physical format. The statement comes amid a surge in COVID cases in China. Addressing a press conference, MEA spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said more than 200 meetings have been planned and some of them have already taken place in December. The expectation and objective is to have these meetings in physical format. Whether and when to change this plan will depend on how the situation evolves, and announcements to this effect will be made at that time. India assumed the G20 presidency on December 1st, 2022. During its presidency, India will host more than 200 meetings in more than 50 cities across 32 different work streams. The G20 is an intergovernmental forum of the world's 20 major developed and developing economies, making it the premier forum for international economic cooperation. The sixth round of negotiations between India and the UK to finalize a free trade agreement, FTA, concluded last week with detailed draft treaty discussions across 11 policy areas over 28 separate sessions, the British government said on Thursday. The UK's Department for International Trade, DIT, issued a joint outcome statement to confirm that the latest round, initiated by UK Trade Secretary Kemi Badenoch and Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal on December 12, concluded last Friday. The seventh round of talks, expected to be held in the UK, is due to take place in the early 2023. As with the previous 5 official level rounds, the current round of talks were conducted in hybrid format between the two countries. The joint outcome statement reads, on 12 to 13 December, the Secretary of State for International Trade, retired Honourable Kemi Badenoch, MP, visited India to initiate the sixth round of the UK-India Free Trade Agreement, FTA, negotiations. She met with Piyush Goyal, Honourable Minister for Commerce and Industry, Government of India, where they welcomed the newest round of talks and discussed wider trade and investment opportunities for the UK and India. On 16 December 2022, the United Kingdom and the Republic of India concluded the sixth round of talks for a UK-India FTA. According to official UK government data, India-UK bilateral trade currently stands at around GBP 29.6 billion a year. The seventh round of official level negotiations is due to take place in early 2023.
India has voted in favour of a UNSC resolution on the mental health of UN peacekeepers. India's permanent ambassador to the UN, Ruchira Kamboj, said, As one of the largest troop contributing countries over the years, India places the highest importance on the safety, security and well-being of UN peacekeepers. She added that mental health is an essential component of holistic health, and India is cognizant of the difficult and demanding environments in which the UN peace operations personnel work. She said, therefore, medical care and well-being of UN personnel deserve the collective and close attention of all member states. Members of the UN Security Council, UNSC, unanimously passed a resolution on mental health and psychosocial support for personnel of UN peace operations. Mexico initiated the draft resolution on mental health and psychosocial support. The draft resolution will be the first standalone Security Council resolution on mental health. The draft text is open for co-sponsorship by the wider UN membership. The draft resolution recognizes the need to raise awareness of the importance of mental health and psychosocial support for UN peace operations personnel. Electricity has emerged as a major export item in Nepal as the Himalayan nation earned over 11 billion rupees by selling excess power to India from early June to this week, as informed by the Nepal's Electricity Authority. Last year, India had for the first time allowed Nepal to sell electricity in the Indian market via a competitive bidding process. But after exporting for a few weeks, Nepal stopped selling power to India amid a reduction in power generation in the dry season. Exports resumed with the start of the monsoon in early June this year. Nepal sold the power at the rate between 6.58 and 12.15 rupees a unit from 39 megawatt power generated by the 15 megawatt Trishuli and 24 megawatt Trishuli hydropower projects. However, Nepal was allowed to sell up to 364 megawatt produced by 6 hydroelectric projects, 140 megawatts from the Kali Gandaki hydropower project, 68 megawatts from the Middle Marsyangadi, 67 megawatts from Marsyangadi and 51 megawatts from Likhu 4 developed by the private sector, besides 37.7 megawatts from Trishuli and Devighat hydropower projects beginning early June this year. In the previous fiscal year, 2020-21, Nepal had imported electricity worth 21.82 billion rupees, according to the NEA. Nepal's earnings from electricity were the third largest from the export of a single commodity in the last fiscal year, that is 2021-22.
Newly elected lawmakers of Nepal took an oath of office and secrecy on Thursday. Senior-most parliamentarian Pashupati Shamsher Rana administered the oath to the lawmakers at the Parliament building in New Delhi, Baneshwar. The lawmakers reached the Parliament wearing traditional dresses of various ethnic groups. According to Article 88 of Nepal's constitution, every member of the Parliament should take an oath as provided in law before taking part for the first time in the meeting of the Parliament and its committees. Likewise, Section 75 of the House of the Representatives Election Act 2017 also requires newly elected lawmakers to take an oath of office and secrecy. Senior-most lawmaker Rana took the oath from President Bidya Devi Bhandari on Wednesday. Rana will preside over the House until the Speaker is elected. After oath-taking ceremony, the Federal Parliament Secretariat hosted a reception today in the honor of the new members of the House of Representatives, HOR, on the premises of the Federal Parliament building. India handed over 125 Mahindra SUVs to Sri Lanka under an existing line of credit on Thursday. The fleet is part of 500 state-of-the-art SUVs, which were promised under a Memorandum of Understanding signed earlier this year. High Commissioner of India, Gopal Bagle, handed over the fleet to Sri Lanka's Minister of Public Security, Tyron Allies, for use by Sri Lankan police. The SUVs are being provided to enable the Sri Lankan police to provide prompt and efficient services to the public.
The Ministry of External Affairs has said that the Government of India is keeping an eye on the COVID situation in China. In reply to a question, MEA spokesperson Arindam Bagchi in a statement said that India has always helped other countries as the pharmacy of the world. He added that so far the ministry has not issued any specific advisory in this regard, but those Indians where they are living should follow local health guidelines. In reply to another query, Mr. Bagchi said that India has consistently supported the cause of female education in Afghanistan. He said India has emphasized and has been emphasizing the importance of establishment of inclusive and representative government that respects rights of all Afghans and ensures equal rights of women and girls to participate in all aspects of Afghan society. With regard to 8 Indians who have been detained in Qatar, Mr. Bagchi said that the Government of India remains seized of the matter and the Indian Embassy has also spoken to them and is actively pursuing the case. He said India will continue to extend all possible consular assistance. A small group of Afghan women staged a defiant protest in Kabul on Thursday against a Taliban order banning them from universities. In the latest move to restrict human rights in Afghanistan, the Taliban's Minister for Higher Education ordered all public and private universities to bar women from attending. A protester at the rally told news agency that some of the girls had been arrested by women police officers. 2 were released, but several remained in custody. Tuesday's late-night announcement triggered international outrage, with the United States, the UN and several Muslim nations denouncing it. This is All India Radio giving you the world news.
Israel's long-serving Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that he has secured a deal to form a new government after weeks of tough negotiations with far-right coalition partners. Mr. Netanyahu informed President Isaac Herzog last night in a phone call that he has managed to form a government. Minutes before a midnight deadline to form a coalition set by the Israel president, Mr. Netanyahu announced through Twitter that he was able to establish a government that will work for the benefit of all Israeli citizens. Netanyahu's conservative, Likud and like-minded religious nationalist parties won a comfortable majority in a November 1 election, promising him 64 of Parliament's 120 seats. But agreement to form a government was held up by disputes over issues ranging from planning authority in the West Bank to the ministerial control over the police. The new government, which Netanyahu must now present within a week, will take office after a year that he has seen the worst levels of violence in the West Bank in more than a decade. Mr. Netanyahu has pledged to govern in the interest of all citizens in Israel. The veteran leader, who returns after serving a record of 15 years in top office, is on trial for corruption charges he denies. The 17th round of India-China Corps commander-level meeting was held at Chushul border meeting point on the Chinese side on Tuesday. Reading out the joint press statement, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said in New Delhi that building on the progress made out of the last meeting on 17 July this year, the two sides exchanged views on the resolution of the relevant issues along the line of actual control LAC in the western sector in an open and constructive manner. Mr. Bagchi said that both sides had a frank and in-depth discussion, keeping in line with the guidance provided by the state leaders to work for the resolution of the remaining issues at the earliest. He added that it would help in restoration of peace and tranquility along the LAC in the western sector and enable progress in bilateral relations. MEA spokesperson said, in the interim, India and China agreed to maintain the security and stability on the ground in the western sector. He added that the two sides also agreed to stay in close contact and maintain dialogue through military and diplomatic channels and work out a mutually acceptable resolution of the remaining issues at the earliest.
In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary on India's Smart Cities mission wins Platinum Icon at Digital India Awards.
The Smart Cities mission of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, MoHUA, won the Platinum Icon at the Digital India Awards 2022 for the initiative Data Smart Cities, Empowering Cities Through Data, under the Data Sharing and the Use for Socio-Economic Development category. The Data Smart Cities initiative is a key step in creating a robust data ecosystem that enables evidence-based decision-making in cities. Smart Cities mission was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 25th of June 2015. The main objective of the mission is to promote cities that provide core infrastructure, clean and sustainable environment, and give a decent quality of life to the citizens through the application of smart solutions. The mission aims to drive economic growth and improve quality of life through comprehensive work on social, economic, physical and institutional pillars of the city. The focus is on sustainable and inclusive development by creation of replicable models which act as lighthouses to other aspiring cities. 100 cities have been selected to be developed as smart cities through a two-stage competition. The mission is operated as a centrally sponsored scheme. Central government has given financial support to the extent of Rs 48,000 crores over 5 years, that is on an average of 100 crore per city per year. An equal amount on a matching basis is to be provided by the state urban local bodies, ULBs. Aggregated at the national level, these proposals contained more than 5,000 projects worth over 2 lakh crores. The Digital India Awards DIA is a prestigious national competition that seeks to encourage and honor innovative digital solutions by government entities in realizing the vision of Digital India. The category Data Sharing and Use for Socio-Economic Development emphasizes on sharing of government data by ministries, departments, organizations, states, cities and ULBs to create a vibrant data ecosystem in the country for analysis, decision-making, innovation, services, economic development and public good. The awards were instituted in 2009 and are one of a kind in India for honoring the efforts of different government entities in the digital realm. These are conducted by the National Informatics Center, NIC, under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MeitY. Digital India Awards DIA brings to the fore digital initiatives being adopted to transform India into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. These awards are instituted under the aegis of the National Portal of India to encourage innovative digital solutions by government entities at all levels. The awards aims to inspire and motivate not only government entities but also startups in fulfilling the Digital India vision. Data Smart Cities initiative aims to harness the power of data for better governance in India's 100 smart cities. Based on people, platform and process strategy, the initiative aims to converge the ministry's efforts for performance management, empowerment of communities and research, co-creation and open innovation. This three-pronged approach, people, process, platforms, imbibes a culture of data awareness and data usage in city functioning. Propagating the importance of data for accelerating the power of cities' existing initiatives, various digital platforms such as Smart Cities, Open Data Portal SCODP, India Urban Observatory IUO, India Urban Data Exchange IUDX, Assessment and Monitoring Platform for Livable, Inclusive and Future-Ready Urban India, AMP-LIFI, and Geospatial Management Information System, GMIS, have been developed to enable cities better manage, share and leverage available data. These platforms together host 55,000 plus data sets and 1,400 plus APIs, application programming interfaces, engaging 15 lakh plus users for evidence-based planning, cross-city assessments, multidisciplinary research, and improving socio-economic outcomes. The program has institutionalized a data ecosystem in cities through 100 city data offices and more than 50 data policies. The Smart Cities Open Data Portal has transformed from zero to all 100 smart cities, now publishing open data sets and contributing to data blogs and visualizations, leading to 1.2 plus lakh downloads and more than 6 lakh views. This initiative has led to a generation of more than 180 innovative, scalable and replicable use cases in collaboration with various stakeholders that are being utilized by cities for better functioning and citizen engagement, like the Vadodara Medical Green Corridor, Surat Real-Time Bus Seat Occupancy and Agartala Smart Traffic Control, among others. The success of this initiative in 100 smart cities has the potential to create a virtuous cycle of improvement with transformational impact of data on all cities in India.
In some more news, the UN Security Council has adopted its first ever resolution on Myanmar in 74 years to demand an end to violence and urge the military junta to release all political prisoners, including ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Ms. Suu Kyi, 77, has been a prisoner since the army toppled her government almost 2 years ago and violently cracked down on dissent. The 15-member council has long been split on how to deal with the Myanmar crisis, with China and Russia arguing against strong action. They both abstained from the vote on Wednesday along with India. The remaining 12 members voted in favor. The resolution urges the junta to immediately release all arbitrarily detained prisoners, including Suu Kyi and ex-President Win Myint. It also demands an immediate end to all forms of violence and asks for all parties to respect human rights, fundamental freedoms and the rule of law.
Sri Lanka's Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijesekara has refuted the claims of Engineers Union of 10-hour-long power cuts in January. He added that legal action would be taken against Engineers Union for the false scare. The minister is sure that there will be no extension of daily power cuts beyond 2 hours and 20 minutes. He added that power supply will remain uninterrupted on 24th, 25th and 26th of December. Mr. Vijayasekara also mentioned that a hike in power tariff is imminent next month and the same would be discussed at the next cabinet meeting. Earlier, the President of Engineers Union, Nihal Veeraratne, had said a 10-hour power cut was a possibility as the Norucholai power plant was running out of coal. Most parts of the U.S. are reeling under severe cold conditions as winter storm has triggered whiteout conditions. The holiday week is set to witness a multitude of weather hazards and travel chaos across the central and eastern parts due to the blockbuster blizzards making the winter solstice. The weatherman has warned of drop in the temperatures by 20 or more degrees following a strong Arctic cold front coming down into the central and southern plains by this evening. More than 50 million Americans in the northern plains are affected by the brutal cold and dangerous wind chills while passing through the east coast. More than half of U.S. states are forecast to see some areas with minimum wind chill temperatures in the negative double digits. The coldest regions might feel wind chills below minus 50 degrees. It amounts to dangerously cold conditions across most of the country.
The Petroleum and Natural Gas Ministry is organizing a day-long one-of-its-kind musical event, Dance to Decarbonize, at the National Stadium in New Delhi on Friday. The ministry has informed that the renewable energy generated through dance will be used to charge electric vehicles. The event aims at showcasing India's target of achieving net zero emissions by 2070, weighing against the country's growing economy, rising energy requirements, and the implementation of responsible energy sources over transformational energy systems for the future. On to sports now. Social Justice and Empowerment Minister Dr. Virendra Kumar met with the members of Indian Blind Cricket T20 World Cup winning team in New Delhi on Thursday and congratulated them for their historic victory. Indian Blind Cricket team has created history by defeating Bangladesh by 120 runs in the final of the T20 World Cup played in Bengaluru on the 17th of this month. It is a matter of pride for the country that India has won the Blind T20 Cricket World Cup for the third consecutive time. India had previously won this championship in 2012 and 2017.
In cricket on the opening day, the second and the final test match between India and Bangladesh at the Sher-e-Bangla National Stadium in Dhaka, the hosts are all out for 227 in 73.5 overs. Top scorer for the Bangladesh was Mominul Haq, who scored 84 runs. As the Suns guests were 19 for no wickets, earlier the hosts won the toss and opted to bat. The KL Rahul-led Indian side leads the two-match test series by 1-0 after winning the opening game by 188 runs. The win handed Team India the boost they said needed to stay in the World Test Championship contention. Another win will put India in a better position in the WTC rankings and can increase their chances to make it to the finals. Indian captain Rohit Sharma has been ruled out of the second test due to injury. At the stock markets, both the Sensex and the Nifty ended lower for the second straight day today, and the rupee strengthened slightly against the dollar. In the international market, the Brent crude oil futures traded higher, a report from the business desk.
At the stock markets, the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange fell 241 points or 0.4% to close at 60,826. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange dropped 72 points or 0.4% to 18,127. Among other global stock markets, Asian markets ended mostly higher. So, Japan's Nikkei index rose 0.5%, Hong Kong's Hang Seng index surged 2.7%, South Korea's Kospi index advanced 1.2%, and Singapore's Straits Times index gained 0.4%. But China's Shanghai Composite index fell 0.5%. In Europe, London's FTSE had gained 0.4%, but France's CAC 40 was marginally lower, and Germany's DAX had shed 0.2% in intraday trade. Brent crude oil prices climbed for the fourth straight day today as a wintry blast hits the United States. So the Brent crude futures gained 74 cents to trade at $82.94 a barrel. The U.S. crude futures rose 81 cents to $79.10 a barrel. Back home, gold gained 59 rupees to 55,241 rupees per 10 grams at Delhi's bullion market. In the international market, gold was trading higher at $1,817 per ounce. And at the forex market, the rupee depreciated 5 paise to 82 rupees and 76 paise against the dollar. Rajesh Lake for World News, All India Radio.
Union Ministry of Civil Aviation will ensure that a subsection of 2% of the total passengers in the flight will undergo random COVID testing on arrival at airports. The decision has been taken with a view to minimize the risk of ingress of new variant of virus in the country. This arrangement will come into practice with effect from 10 a.m. on Saturday. In a letter to the Civil Aviation Secretary Rajiv Bansal, Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan said, such travellers in each flight shall be identified by the concerned airlines and they must be preferably from different countries. Such travellers will be allowed to leave the airport after submitting their samples. If positive, the report will be shared with the Integrated Disease Surveillance Program and with the concerned state for a follow-up action. Such samples should also be sent for genomic testing at the designated Indian SARS-CoV-2 Genomics Consortium in SARS-CoV Laboratory Network. Mr. Bhushan said while the Civil Aviation Ministry will coordinate the testing, its cost will be borne by the Health Ministry. He also requested the Ministry to conduct these tests at subsidized and uniform rates across all international airports. In the letter, Mr. Bhushan said as a result of sustained efforts and focus on five-fold strategy of test, track, treat, vaccination and adherence to COVID-appropriate behavior, India has been able to effectively restrict the spread of COVID-19 transmission in the country so far. He said globally the number of new cases of COVID-19 continue to remain alarmingly high, with around 5.9 lakh daily new cases reported on average during the week ending 19th of December.
The United States has announced that it would provide its key Patriot missile defense system to Ukraine. The Patriot missile system can be used as a shield against short-range ballistic missiles, cruise missiles and incoming jets. This will be the first ever handover of such a defense system to Ukraine and strengthen the Ukrainian defense. The White House stated that the Patriot missile system would be a part of another $1.85 billion in aid to Ukraine. Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Straits Times writes, Zelensky faces prospect of stalemate upon return to Ukraine. Guardian writes, ethics row rages after South Sudan leader wets himself on live TV. The Washington Post reports European Parliament corruption probe is a gift to the bloc's critics. The New York Times writes UK ambulance workers staged their largest walkouts in decades. The Global Times writes China-Russia joint exercise is upright above board. Global Times editorial. Wall Street Journal writes Zelensky says Ukraine will never surrender. Asks Biden and Congress for more aid. And the Financial Times writes, Brazil lawmakers approved $28 billion increase in spending cap for Lula plans.
And now a quick look at the headlines once again. New Delhi says it is watching closely the COVID situation in China. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs high-level meeting to assess COVID situation in the country, asks states to take stock of preparedness to tackle COVID-19 if required. Random scanning of international passengers to be conducted at airports and port of entry in India to minimize the risk of entry of new variants into the country. G20 meetings in India expected to be held as per plans in physical format. Sixth round of India-UK FTA negotiations result in treaties on 11 policy areas. Benjamin Netanyahu seals the deal to form a new coalition government in Israel. India hands over a fleet of 125 out of 500 Mahindra SUVs to Sri Lanka as part of the deal. Indian scientist Professor Talapil Pradeep of IIT Madras wins WinFuture Special Prize for low-cost groundwater filtration for arsenic and other heavy metals. And in cricket, Bangladesh bowled out for 227 in the first innings on day one of the second test match in Mirpur. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Kazakhstan.
Vaishnav Jan tu tene kahiye je pir parai jaan re paratu ke upkar kare toye mamna abhiman na mere Vaishnav Jan tu
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.